Most people think they avoid follow-up because they hate sales, but that's actually not the problem. The real issue is what follow-up brings internally, emotionally. The fear of being pushy, the fear of rejection, or even the fear of taking up too much space. And if follow-up has ever felt heavier than it really needs to, this conversation is for you. Because my guest today has spent literally decades helping people understand that sales follow-up is not about pressure. It's about service, clarity, and confidence. Wanda, I am so excited to have you here with us today. Welcome to the Inner Business Podcast.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great. And for those who haven't met you yet, could you share a little bit about your journey and what drew you to focus so deeply on follow-up in sales?
Yeah. So I had a 25-year corporate career, and I was a business banker, and I spent the lion's share of my career managing SBA departments, which are government loans here in the U.S. And they had a lot of rules and regulations. I figured out early in my career that I had to have really good systems in place to manage it effectively. And then I accepted a position with the bank as a branch manager, which put me into sales. And one of the, I realized in studying the sales process how critical follow-up is. I was really struggling. I'd never been in sales before. The bank sent me to one sales class, and then they threw me out with the sharks, and it was sink or swim, and I was sinking. And I got an opportunity to I got a really great prospect. He had $1 million plus in deposits, and he was talking to 2 other bankers, and I thought, I am so sick of struggling. And I knew if I could get him over the other 2 bankers, it would completely change everything for me. And I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. So I really studied the sales process, and I realized how critical follow-up is to all of it, the whole process. And I thought, but how do you do it? And I fell back on what I know how to do well, which is create systems. And so I developed systems for following up and implemented them, executed them for several years. And then the bank I was working for was acquired. I was a senior vice president. We were not the lead bank, and they already had someone, the lead bank had someone in my position. And I knew banking had run its course, but I didn't know what I was going to do. It was all I knew. And a friend of mine said, you should become a speaker and coach and teach people how to follow up, because I was really good at it. And so I thought, what the heck? So I went out on a wing and a prayer, and I started speaking, and I learned very quickly that in general, this is a real problem area for most people. Yeah. And I said, okay, there's something here. And that was 16 years ago. And here I sit.
16 years ago, and she's still doing it. We love that. That's beautiful. I mean, most of us know that we need to follow up with the people that we've had a conversation with. Absolutely. But we often don't. Like you said, there is a real problem here. Here on the Inner Business Podcast, we like to talk about what's actually going on here. So from your experience, what do you think is actually happening internally, emotionally? What is it that's stopping us from taking that action?
It's fear. Bottom line, hands down, number one reason is fear. Okay. Fear of being uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for a lot of people. Fear of rejection. And the number one fear is fear of being pushy. Fear of not knowing what to say. Fear of appearing desperate. I hear that one a lot. So that is the number one reason why people don't do it.
Wow. It's always fear. Well, it comes down to fear, doesn't it? I mean, a lot of business owners. Sorry, go on.
No, and follow-up work is very easy not to do. Very easy. You can come up with 25 reasons every day why you can't get your follow-up work done. But underneath all of that is fear.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of business owners definitely agree, definitely worry about being pushy. I hear things like, oh, I don't want to be like the used car salesman. It sounds like a cultural thing, like a cultural assumption, like a I don't know, an energy attached to the idea of sales and experience somehow that's been passed down, like the used cars now, the desperate don't want to be that person. Is that what you see?
Yeah.
Where does this fear come from? Like, what is it about? Why are we afraid to offer our services and ask if someone needs our help? What is that about?
Well, I think that you hit it the nail on the head in that what feeds the fear of being pushy is they have that pushy salesperson in their mind that they don't want to be.
Mm.
And you usually think of car salesman, but it's any salesman. So what happens is they go so far to the opposite end of the spectrum to make sure they're not that pushy salesperson that they end up taking very little, if any, action at all. And
Mm.
I'm sure that most people have experienced a pushy salesperson. It's terrible experience. Nobody likes it. But they have to understand they're not going to be that person. They're going to be professional and respectful. Focus on that, and there's no way you're going to be pushy. That pushy salesperson is obnoxious.
Yes.
You're not obnoxious. Your community people aren't obnoxious, And so it's keeping things in perspective. Just
Mm.
because you may have had an experience, or maybe you saw in a movie or a TV show, or, some pushy salesperson, that is not you.
No.
And I would venture to say most people couldn't even be that if they tried.
Ah,
Because
it would be a
they're
nice
not.
experiment, wouldn't it? I want you to be
Yeah,
really pushy. Go
yeah.
on. I'd be like, oh, I couldn't possibly. I couldn't possibly. I wonder why that is. You have different values. You're not that person. I guess that in itself would be a powerful exercise, hey?
Yes, yes. And especially women, we tend to tread lighter. Well, I don't know. They didn't respond. They didn't really say. So I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't want to bother them. God forbid if I
Mm.
bother them. But the real deal is if a prospect has expressed an interest in your product or service, it is your duty to follow up. It really is. And just, I encourage people to be black and white about it, not gray or wishy-washy. And this doesn't mean you're robotic. It doesn't mean you're aggressive, you're unemotional, but it's logic. If
Hmm.
a prospect is interested, I have to follow up. That's my job if I'm
Yeah.
responsible for bringing in business. Research tells us only 2% of sales are made on the first contact. That
Yes.
happens next to never. And
Mm.
so it means you have to follow up. And when fears kick in, what the default is? Well, if they're ready, when they're ready, they'll let me know. If they want to take it to the next step, they'll let me know. No, no, no. You can't. It's not the prospect's job to follow up
Mm.
with you. It's just not. And even when a prospect says, "Oh, okay, I'll let you know when you're ready," oftentimes they don't.
No.
And if there's a big gap of time between when they talk to you and now they're ready, they may not even remember you. Was her name Selena? Was it Shelley? Was
Yes.
it Cindy? I can't remember. So the next person they meet that does what you do is going to get the business.
Yeah, the person who called or the person who emailed is going to, because they're the
Eh,
front of mind person.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's really interesting. I love that you said it's your duty. I'm like, oh, right, I'm letting people down now. My instant
Yeah.
people pleaser has tuned in and gone, right, okay, must do that then. It's funny, isn't it? I know in my experience, some of my sales will take a bit of time. And actually, if I don't
Oh, yeah.
call and follow up, I don't get the chance to build a relationship with that person. And that's usually what gets them over the line, right? Because they want to tune into my vibe and check out whether I am the right coach for them. And sometimes that's really, really hard on one sales call, So I totally understand that. It's about relationship, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And it may be almost impossible to get the business if you're not following up. And I love that you said trust because, first of all, it takes trust for any relationship to work. And you typically don't know the prospect. They're typically a new lead. And even if they're referred to you, they're typically new to you. So the number one way to start building trust with your prospects is to follow up.
Mm.
And it's the number one way to start building that relationship. And so to stay away from it and not do it, it's squandering invaluable time, because that's the time
Mm.
to show the prospect who you are, how you do business, how important they are to you, that you have initiative, that you care. And because
Yep.
I know that your community, everyone in it, knows that their product or service will make a difference in that prospect's business or life. So if you're not pursuing that, you're obviously doing a disservice to yourself, but you're doing a disservice to that prospect because you're not giving them an opportunity to get to know you, to start trusting you, to building a
Mm.
relationship that's going to get you to the end game, which is to do business with you.
And if your business is to solve their problem and you don't do any of that, then they may not solve their problem. You're leaving them in that limbo space. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I look at it. I'm like, well, look, I can help you. And so I'm just checking in, and I have a whole process where I just have lists, and every week I just randomly call people, follow up, follow up, follow up. And it can take a long time before someone's ready to purchase, especially if, like me, you have high ticket coaching. Like that's a bigger ask. That's not usually going to happen in a 20-minute phone call unless we've done a really cracking job with our marketing. They've been following me on Insta, they've been watching the YouTube videos, they feel like they know me already, and that does happen.
Mhm.
That's the point of the marketing, but marketing is not sales. And that makes me think a lot of my
No.
clients think that if they show up on social every day, that's sales, and they can't work out why they're not getting sales because they've been doing the socials thing. I wonder if you'd like to talk to that, because that always makes me go, nah, I see.
Yeah. Marketing is just getting the word out
Yeah.
about you and what you do. That's what marketing is. That it may bring you a lead. Hopefully it does. It brings you leads, but that is not what's going to bring you business.
Yeah.
What brings you business is following up on those leads that you're getting from the marketing. And networking falls into that category too. Because while I network, that's great, but
Mm.
that just plants a seed. That does not bring you
Yes.
business. It
Yeah.
plants the seed. So, yes, marketing and sales are very, very different.
You've got to ask,
Yeah.
haven't you? You've got to say,
You,
hey, can I help you? How can I help you?
yeah.
Let's find out what your problem is. Let's see if I'm the right person to help you. Otherwise, everybody's just at the dance, kind of like, I always imagine it like dating at the disco, like all on the edge of the, like looking at each other, like, hey, hey, but no one's ever talking to anyone. It's a bit awkward. Like it's awkward without the sales process, I think.
It's true. And, I say, don't be afraid to ask next step questions. Like,
Mm.
just don't be afraid. If you walk out of a meeting, end the phone call, and think, I don't know, I'm not sure. Oh, ding, ding, ding. You didn't ask next step questions. And, people really appreciate that. And it leaves a
Mm.
great professional impression. It
Mm-hmm.
really does. So, don't be afraid. Again, it doesn't mean you're abrasive or pushy. You're professional, you're kind, you're just asking for the next step. Is
Yeah,
this
yeah.
something you'd be interested in? Are you ready to make a
Mm-hmm.
decision today?
Yeah,
Would you
yeah.
like to move forward? Those are kind
Yeah.
professional questions. There's nothing wrong with them. And they're so much better than walking out scratching your head.
Yeah, wondering
It's
whether, because then you just followed up, but you didn't get where you needed to go. So guess what you're going to have to do now? You're going to have to follow up again.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if
Yeah.
you don't have if you're uncertain enough about what to do next, there's a chance you won't do anything if uncertainty
Mm.
is that high.
Yeah.
So you want to be very careful and protect yourself from opening that door to uncertainty.
And I guess that's where the systems that you've created come into place, because you can follow that, and that makes you feel safe because you always know what the next step is, and that moves you
Yes.
forward, right?
Yes, yes. So systems and asking the right questions, asking next step questions just makes the process so much easier. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be the strain and struggle that it is for so many people.
Yeah, and if someone uses these systems and they learn how to follow up, like we're saying, with warmth, professionalism, they've definitely understood that they are not the used car salesman. That is not who they are.
No,
How
no.
does that feel for someone? What happens to someone when they learn those skills and they're in that flow of building relationship and asking next questions, and they know where, who's a warm lead, who's not the right fit, who is, where they're at in the pipeline? What does that do for someone in business?
Well, you're a lot more composed, let me tell you that. And composure is so important because it means you're in control. You're not running around
Mm,
scattered and your hair on fire and haggard and balls dropping and things slipping through the cracks. And that's exhausting and it's not good. It's just not healthy in
hmm
general. So the reason you're so composed is because you're getting the work done every working day that is going to bring you more business. And when that happens, your confidence will just naturally elevate. And
mm,
we move differently. We show up differently. We work differently when we're confident. And confidence is so crucial in sales, and is talked about so little because at the end of the day, that is what a prospect buys is confidence. And I say this because who doesn't love a salesperson that's confident in who they are and the product or service they sell? That is what we gravitate towards. That's who we want to do business with.
mm,
So when you're confident, you just stand taller. You're not shrinking. You're not haggard and scattered and exhausted. That's a vibration. You know this. This is your world,
yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there is a difference between a confident vibration and a stressed out, discouraged, disappointed, frustrated uh, vibration. There's a
And
big difference. And so that's what happens because when you're not following up, business isn't where you want it to be. And that is so stressful
it's
and,
really
and
heavy,
so
right? And I have so
it
many people come
is.
to me going, oh, my business, oh, it's so hard. And a lot of
Yeah.
it, it's always something going on for them, usually. Usually it's something that a decision we've made, like this conversation we're having here about sales and fear and not being pushy. You imagine being in a position where your mindset is like that and you're forcing yourself into a place where you feel like you're really out of your values. Of course, that's going to be exhausting. Of course, it's going to be
Yeah.
draining. And the person on the other end of the call or the meeting is going to feel that energy. They're going to feel that you
Yes.
don't really want to be here, that this is all a bit orky and you're not really keen. Whereas if they
Yeah.
rewire that and understand that this is about service, as we've been talking about, that it's our duty, as you said, to follow up and make sure this person has the opportunity to say yes or no, either way. And we have a system that helps us build that confidence. Of course, the energy is going to be totally different. It's going to become fun. It can gamify it if you like, like have fun with it. Just show up
Yeah.
and be of service. And so many of my clients, that's all they want, is to be of service. But somehow they're wired to see this as the opposite. It's so fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I think too, it's because so many focus on making the sale rather than providing the service.
Yes, that's a good
And
point.
so if you focus on if you focus on when you focus on service, you're focusing on the prospect. When you focus on making the sale, you're focusing on yourself. And that's where it can get icky and
Mm.
like, oh, I don't know, and awkward and uncomfortable. And so keeping the focus. And another way to look at it is be curious. I am so curious to see if this is the day they're going to make their decision. Or I am so curious to see if they're actually going to respond to me this time. So that can be another way to flip the script in the mind to,
Yeah,
to
I love that.
be of service and be of curious and forget about the sale. Let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have control over that. The only thing you have control over is the action that you need to take.
Yes, that
And
is so
so
true.
keeping the focus in the right areas will help.
Okay, so on that note then, if we've got someone watching or listening right now who maybe has like, I don't know, 1,000 Instagram followers or
Okay.
a small list, say like 100 people on a list, and they haven't written to any of those people at all. They've done all this marketing, so they've got these potential leads. What is the first thing that someone could do to help them feel a little less stuck in this process? Like, how do they take a step towards moving into this place of confidence rather than fear, of curiosity rather than like judgment? Probably they're judging themselves and the future that hasn't even happened. Anxiety. What would you say? What's a good first step?
So if they're leads like that they've dropped and let go and didn't follow up with, and I say pick them back up and just confess thy sin. Get the elephant out of the room. Hey, um, we met at the chamber event a couple months ago, and when we met, you were interested in selling your home, and I'm sorry I haven't followed up sooner, but I thought I'd follow up today to see if that's still of interest.
Hmm.
That's it. So, and just see where it goes. So that
Yes.
just admit it, get it out, and then you're not carrying around this. It's like this dirty little secret that, well, who cares? People are in general are forgiving, number
Yes.
one. And number two, you can leave a great impression that you did it. And here's the deal. These are heavy outreaches. However you're doing it. When you've dropped a ball and now you're embarrassed, it's a heavier lift, there's no question. However, allow that to be reinforcement that I am never putting myself in this boat again because it is too uncomfortable. If I just
Yeah.
follow up when I'm supposed to, it's like a pebble. But when we're doing it, when we drop the ball, it's been a period of time. Now we're embarrassed. That is heavy.
Yeah.
That's like a boulder versus a pebble.
I hear
And
you.
so use
Yeah.
it as reinforcement, but do it. Why not?
Yeah.
Who
What do you got to
cares?
lose? Yeah.
What's
And
what's you what's the
sorry,
worst that can happen?
exactly. And I was going to say, one of the things that made me smile when you said, oh, here's what you say. We met at the chamber. It was a few months ago. You said you were interested. Sorry, I didn't follow up sooner. So I thought I'd check in now. Is that something you're still interested in? Right. So that's great. It's really short, right? Honestly.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people I work with, I find will do is it's almost like they feel like they need to justify and they'll try and craft the perfect email. And so one of the challenges I gave myself was 9-word emails. Have you ever tried that? It gets me out
Yeah.
of my head. I love words. It gets me out of my head. Oh, I better say I'm so sorry. I haven't followed up. Things have been really busy and blah, 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 blah. Justify because I'm really, really guilty. They don't care about any of that. And all you need to know is, are you still keen or not? Like, and you don't want to be rude and
Yeah.
go, hey, dude, are you keen or not? That's rude. But, yeah, keeping it short and not overthinking it. And I think when we're writing an essay, we can pause and notice and go, oh, I feel like I'm maybe still carrying a bit of heaviness emotionally here, and I'm now trying to give that to my prospect. The weight of that ball. Do you know what I'm saying? Have you seen that in your experience?
Yes, yes. You don't ever want to explain why you didn't follow up. Don't ever do that. And as you said, because it doesn't matter and they don't care. And what's going to happen is you're going to start getting tongue-tied and twisted. And you're
Yeah.
going to be wasting their time and you're going to be nervous. And no, just keep it very matter of fact. Didn't follow
Hmm.
up. Want to apologize for that and move on. Move
Yeah.
on. Because when you try to explain it, you're justifying, as you just said, or you're making an excuse.
Yeah.
Neither which is impressive or does it matter. And so don't
No.
even put your energy there.
No, just be confident. They don't need to know what was going on, It's interesting, isn't
Yeah.
it? And if more of us viewed follow up as relationship building rather than
Mhm.
chasing and selling, which is like what you said, like don't call it selling, call it being of service, call it relationship building. How do you think their business and their experience of business, the way business feels, would change? What have you noticed when people have that switch happen?
Oh, they change. The most important thing is they change. They approach business differently. They don't get downtrodden. They're excited. They have a robust pipeline. They're closing business on the regular. They're enjoying what they do. They have a spring in their step. It is just vastly different when you get this follow-up thing down, because it's the number one way to bring in more business is to follow up. Not getting a lead, following up twice, the prospect doesn't respond and you drop it. Now you got to go get another lead and you follow up, and you know, it's a hamster on the wheel, just running. It just changes everything, because when you are bringing in more business, you're making more money, you're fulfilling your vision and desires and goals and everything that you have. And it truly lies on follow up. And if a prospect says, it's not a good time right now, but why don't you check with me in the winter, you know, later this year? And you're like, oh my God, that's another year. That's 10, 11 months now. Versus, okay, no problem. You're confident because you know you will absolutely, and then you'll knock their socks off come
Because
November,
you remembered.
December.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I say the bar is so low today, you're going to trip over it. You don't even have to lift a leg up to get over it. I mean, you can just leave the best impressions, because in general, people aren't good at it.
And you're right. You know, like in my system, if someone says that, I put a task in my system.
Yeah.
And then when I log in the morning, it's like, here's who you're talking to today. And I'm like, oh, it looks like, you know, you asked back in January last year, you asked me to give you a call. So, hi. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. And how are we? How are things moving for you? Like we go back into the questions around how are things going? How can I help you? And we just check in and we ask the questions again. I love that. But you know, you're right. If you don't have the systems, then you won't be reminded. You won't have a way. You might be in a conversation and you won't know what to say next. There's lots of parts to that system, and I know that you have some free follow-up strategies to close more sales. Is that right? Is there a place we can go and access some of these beautiful strategies of yours so we can stop being afraid and not be the used car salesman and build these beautiful relationships?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. I also offer a free 30-minute assessment call, a free guidebook. Yes,
Beautiful.
so yes, you can follow up salesstrategies.com.
That's beautiful.
And
Wanda is
yeah.
incredibly experienced. So if this is something that you've been feeling, God, I need to get this sorted, then please do take Wanda up on her wonderful offer, because she is a wealth of experience. Absolutely. Has anything come up for you, Wanda, during this conversation that you feel you haven't had a chance to share? Is there any words of wisdom that you'd like to share and add now to the conversation?
Yes. So I want to leave with this directive, if you will.
Ooh,
You got to
lovely.
make follow up. You've got to make follow up a top priority. Just period, end of story. Don't waste your days on low priority, busy work. That's the comfortable work. The top priority work tends to be uncomfortable, but the top priority is what moves the needle forward in your business. You cannot squander another working day not getting this work done. Every day matters, every day counts. Make it a top priority, get it done before you do anything else, and you will see a shift.
She's absolutely right. I guarantee she's absolutely right. Thank you again, Wanda, for bringing such awesome insights, beautiful stories that we can all definitely relate to, and a really practical lens, because that's really important, because this is something that a lot of people I know really struggle with. I know this conversation is going to help a lot of listeners, and I know that Wanda and I will be happily reading and responding to the comments. So if you do have any questions, please comment below and reach out to Wanda. In the description, I will add Wanda's website and ways in which you can reach out to her, and I absolutely encourage you to do so. Thank you again, Wanda.
Thank you. I had a great time.